A lot's been happening on the political front as well. The BBI blow at the Court of Appeal, it seems to have, for lack of a better word, shocked our political class with very interesting developments happening all around. And I want to get the thoughts of each of my guests here who sit on different sides of the, sort of political leanings with different thoughts about exactly what's happening. And Governor, I think I'll start with you on this one and just get your thoughts on the directions that we are seeing. On one hand, One Kenya Alliance seemed very united, but now everyone seems to be campaigning for themselves. ODM leader Raila Odinga has gone off in what seems to be a presidential campaign, even though I know Gladys Wanga will tell us he has not announced officially. Jubilee will tell us what is going on as well, but also the issue of small parties. And if you look at the front page of the People today, they are saying small parties are a threat to the large parties. I don't know which side of this discussion you want to begin this morning. Where are we?
I'm laughing because I'm the party leader of the so-called small parties that are not small anymore because they capture the imagination of this country. Let me start by saying that I lived in the United States for about 7 years as a student. And one of the things that I learned about the United States was about how they really concentrate on what their constitution talks about. The constitution talks about that basically the Americans are told that they need to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Basically, the Constitution is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so everything that is put there, if it's a political party, if it's a certain ideology, it's all about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. A friend of mine used to tell me that I need to choose my own happiness. Choose your own happiness. But then you ask yourself, how do you choose your own happiness in a country that does not allow you to actually realize your dreams? Because it's all about tribal affiliations, it's all about umetoka wapi, unaenda wapi. Political parties are organized not based on what they can do for our people, but how they can move people from one end to one end on tribal leanings. Unapigia mtu kura unasema ni mtu wetu. Not because that person is qualified, but because you feel that that person is from your tribe. Who sends a postcard, When a child is born in the plains of Yatta or Turkana, did they send a postcard to say they want to be born from that place? When a child wakes up in the morning from Ijara or Muranga, did they decide that they wanted to be born there? We are one country. And so when I look at all these machinations here, and you're telling our people choose your own happiness, but is the happiness that we are seeing in our country being put forth really realistic? This country suffers and has suffered for a very long time because of poor leadership. But it's not the poor leaders that make us suffer. It is us, Wananchi, who elect the poor leaders. And the kind of rhetoric that we put forth. When I look at the newspapers today, it's the same characters that have been there forever. Same people with the large parties. Unaita siji Okoa, unaita nini? Okoa, Old Kanu Network. All these people coming together. You're calling it the Old Kanu Network. And
Malala, I don't know if
you've got all these people coming back together. They're looking for relevance. Do they really have anything to offer this country? And that is where now they are feeling threatened by parties like Maendeleo Chap that has an ideology that says you are born once, you'll die once. What matters is this life in between. What the Americans would say, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We need to provide an environment where you choose your own happiness and you're happy and you're able to say, yes, I'm comfortable enough. I can live comfortably. I can actually buy my own ticket to pursue my happiness.
So what is the ambition of your party in this quest for happiness?
My party wants Kenyans to have money. My party wants Kenya.
How?
We want to have money. We need a party that actually says that if I'm sitting, wake up in Machakos today and I have a friend I want to go see in Boston because I can afford it, so I can choose my own happiness, I can be able to do it. Or if I want to be able to take my child to a certain school or live comfortably, I can be able to do it. Everything comes down to economics and ideology of economics. It's not about our people and everything. So Maendeleo Chap is saying, let us change this political landscape of my people, your people, and choose leaders who can actually change our fortunes. If I give you more money today, you'd be very happy about it. Everybody wants more money in their pocket. But are these organizations, Ziokas, Nini, Zahawa, and how Ngine, are they really doing anything about it? Or what they have done, is it really, could you rate them at A or B or C? Or have they failed? So
that's the question you're asking this morning.
These are asking my friends. Let me just conclude by saying this. when I look at the papers and I look at what is being presented in our country today, we're not being given the right choice. We are being hoodwinked to play the same game we've played since independence. Ni hawa watu, huyu na mtu wake, hawa na watu wao, watapiga kura hivi, kama kondoo anaenda kichinjioni. And I want to say that this country has a lot of young people who are sitting at home with no jobs, who are educated, parents who are frustrated, people are walking in the streets frustrated, and they want a future. And majority of these people are young, and they want something fresh. And that is where a party like Maendeleo Chap comes in, to tell them, we've experimented for 60 years, let us shift to something new, so that we can rescue our country and be able to move forward. And yet
Gladys Wanga, the rallying call for ODM has been tried and tested. Mutua doesn't think so. He thinks tried and tested means overstaying in leadership, overstaying in power. Let's get thoughts from you on that. And I was very keen yesterday. I saw your party received defectors, but I wondered why the defectors were only from one party.
Yeah, so we will be receiving defectors. Let me just answer that. We will be receiving defectors from various parties at various times. It's a journey, Wahiga. You don't receive everyone at the same time. So the other day we received, people from Tharaka-Nithi, Mandera, other places. Yesterday we were receiving those. By the way, these defectors come. They come and say, us, we were here, we want to join the party. So then we receive them as they come. And they're trooping to ODM, and I think that's a good thing. And coming back to the issue of, where we are and where we are as a nation right now, politically speaking. It's under a year to election, Wahiga. So you expect that there will be political activity, there will be political jostling, the transfer window is open, people will be moving from one space to another, depending on what they feel will work for them come August next year. So I think what's happening is pretty normal. You mentioned the BBI. I personally feel it was unfortunate that the Court of Appeal decided as it did, but we respect the verdict of the court, as we have mentioned. I have seen that there is a group pursuing this matter in the Supreme Court. That no longer now is the focus. The focus is to carry on the spirit of the BBI. And what was the spirit of the BBI? The spirit of the BBI was bringing Kenya together, bringing Kenya to a place where, the divisions of every election can be a thing of the past. The winner-take-it-all approach to election can be a thing of the past. So to carry on that spirit of the BBI and move it to the next level. And coming to the point that you raised on experience, and I think experience is really important in leadership, and that is why we are carrying on the issue of a track record. As ODM, our party leader Raila Odinga is carrying his track record along with him, his experience along with him, because he is one man who has been consistent, Wahiga. I mean, give it to him. He has been consistent. He has carried issues consistently over the years, to this point. Whether you think about what he's talking now about development within our rural areas, even when he had the opportunity, he started, rural electrification. He's the one who introduced this concept that we have today of Kera and Kura, where there was focus just on some roads, but he decided, let's focus on rural roads separately, let's focus on urban roads separately, and let's focus on national highways separately, so that you don't have a situation where all the money is going just to highways and not to rural roads and so on. So personally, I think where we are at is where we should be. There'll be a lot more rearrangement. Ultimately, the way I see it...
And I was going to ask you that, because we now seem to have a scenario where he'll be on the ballot, Musalia will be on the ballot. Yesterday I saw Wiper MP saying, Kalonzo, you must be on the ballot as well. I don't know whether Alfred Mutua, the governor here, is also preparing himself as well.
Yes, I'll be, for avoidance of any doubt, I'll be on the ballot. It is time to have a generational change, and that has to be there. And but I also agree, and with that you need experience, and we need a combination of the old and the new to be able to go forth. in this country. You cannot just say the old car kando.
And that's what I was waiting for.
So you have to have the old.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
But also you need the vigor and the energy of the young when they're still young and energetic to change the country. You don't wait for them when they are tired to come and change the country. There's the suffering that we have right now, as I said. You cannot choose your own happiness while you're suffering. You know, you choose your own happiness when the leaders you put into place have created an enabling environment for you to be able to prosper.
Speaking of leaders that have put in place, give your final thought before I bring in Senator Wamatangi.
Yeah, so what I was saying is I like what Governor Mutua has said, which is that no single person can do it alone, or no single group. Not the young, not the old. You need a good blend, you know, to move it forward, rather than balkanize people on their economic status to say, us we are the poor, us we are the rich, or us we are the old, us we are the young. You need a good blend, and that is the good blend, and you need a safe pair of hands. And for me, that's Raila Odinga. But ultimately, what I'd like to say is, ultimately, people will have to work on coming together. And for me, I see a two-horse race, believers of unity, believers of not election at all costs. Because what has brought us, Wahiga, where we are, is I must get elected at all costs, you know, and so on. So believers of not election at all costs, but believers in this country coming together, believers in us resolving the issues that have brought us to where we are, believers in carrying the country forward, believers in anti-corruption will be on one side. Those who believe you have to get power at all costs, those who believe you can steal, you know, public wealth, and it doesn't matter where your wealth comes from, those who believe, you know, whatever job is whatever job, whether you're stealing or whether you are, you know, whatever you're doing, kazi ni kazi, you know, factor, whether you're a con man, it doesn't matter. Those who believe in those ideals will be on one side. Those who believe in these other ideals will be on another side. And I foresee that being the shape that this election takes. And
I wonder, because you've spoken about the ideals that Kenya should be looking for, but we have a ruling party as we speak. In fact, Senator Wamatangi is a member of that. Senator, what's your take on this? Because it seems a lot of the leaders here this morning are looking at the future, dissatisfied with the present. What's the Jubilee game plan, I think, is what Kenyans want to know this morning.
You know,
maybe that's the elephant in the room.
Wahiga, it's an interesting position to be in, and things must be said as the way they are, because it is not very easy, Wahiga, and I think I need to put in correct perspective. When you have the leader of your party being the president of the country, leading the country in a transition year when his government is coming to an end and he will not be running. Because you have to keep the balance of ensuring first that the country runs. You deliver on the agenda that you have promised to the people, and then take government and the wishes of the people to the very last day. But in between here, you must have all these other things that you're seeing going on. You know, the Alfred Mutuas of this world must be there, you know, the Rutos and the Railas and whatever, they must do their bit. And so, for us in Jubilee, for the time being, we find ourselves in that, you know, very interesting position, because we have to deliver, you have to run country, you have to run government, but yet the politics that's going on is still real, and it affects the people. And so we've been kind of, in quotes, relegated to a position whereby you're watching the arena as to what's happening. And at the end of the day, you still must also be conscious of what's happening so that it does not affect the agenda of government, the agenda of the country, and then be able to deliver. But I must say this, because I think it's important, that yes, I believe that also as Jubilee, as we move on, because there has to be continuity. There are policies, there are things that we believed in that must be, at the end of the day, be part of the long-term agenda for this country. We also need to now start thinking as to then, after this, how do we want, or whom and which people would we want to hand over that bit of continuity or partner with, so that we can see whatever will have been left unfulfilled continue. That's a conversation that I believe must start happening, because as much as we want to balance things, we also must be alive to the fact that there will be a tomorrow. And 2022 will come anyway. And 2023 will. So how do we want to exit?
Before we even get to 2023,
yes.
when you hear the governor of Kirinyaga County, Anne Waiguru,
yes,
saying that today she doubts that she'll be re-elected on a Jubilee ticket.
Well,
do you hold the same fears yourself?
You know, Wahiga, we've been here with you for a while in this country. One thing that you can never forget is the truth that has been said many, many days, many times, that politics, one day in politics is an eternity in normal life. And so trying to predict now that you think that Jubilee would not win, and we've seen this. Can I remind you, Wahiga, and I did the other day here, that in the year 2007, just before, when Kibaki was coming to get elected, everybody believed, and actually even in 2002, after they took over immediately, everybody believed in 2007 Kibaki was going to be running on NAC. Remember, Mother Karua's party. And everybody believed that if you wanted to be in government that time, you had to be there. You know what happened? That within the last 3 months, the whole game was changed. I was one of the people who are victims. We all dashed to Mother Karua's party and we said, this is where we are going. Then Kibaki came with his PNU. In 3 months, everybody was in PNU, and that's how government was formed. Now, you would be very wrong to imagine that that's a statement you can make as a statement of fact. I believe what should drive personal decisions right now is principle. That you believe in what you believe in, because at the end of the day, you cannot be here, just living a vacuum where you are driven by forces outside what you believe in as a politician. And so, if Waiguru or Wamatangi or anyone, if you have beliefs that you think that this is how public policy, delivery of agenda for the people should be taken, then go that course. And in your delivery, what will happen is that politics will shape itself. And then you will find that there will be a bus that will be well occupied by people who have your same mindset. And that's why I said we in Jubilee are real to the fact that at the end of the year 2021, then we will head to 2022, we will have to have a conversation as to how will the future of this country look like. And indeed, even as the president exits, what would you say that you did responsibly to ensure that you have left leadership in safe hands or with people that can continue with your agenda? And Wahiga, lastly, this is why you have parties that have transcended individuals. That's why you have admirable parties, for example, outside, in the international jurisdictions you want to compare, like the US. That's why you have the Democratic Party. That's why you have the Republican Party. That's why you have the ANC in South Africa. And those are the ideals that you would say politicians would want to fit into that kind of party. Now, but as we do so, yes. And allow me that last point.
Yes, briefly, please.
We are also alive to the fact that you have to watch, for example, what are the so-called small parties are doing. And my colleague here and presidential running mate has amused me this morning. He's not protesting when you call him a small party, and he's been traversing the whole country.
The headline
yes.
Of the people.
So I mean, because you must be big in your belief. My brother. But I believe what you are seeing, Wahiga, with the Musalia Mudavadis, Kalonzo Musyoka, and all the rest, is a race amongst first among equals. In trying to find probably who would be probably the third horse, or who would be the third alternative. Not forgetting, and this is the reality I believe they must address themselves to. And as my brother, Senator Malala is here.
Either amused or not amused, but I'm not sure which.
The one reality they have to address themselves to is this, Wahiga, that onwards, from the year 2002, even as they fight, it is no longer possible for the top office in this country to ever be occupied by somebody who goes it alone. It is not possible. You have to be in partnership, you have to be a coalition, you have to be have people who think like you and build a team.
Okay.
That is how our politics has shaped into.
I want to immediately get a response from you, and your party leader has been referenced in all this. He's been making some very interesting statements. He says, I'm not backing anyone. I'm ready to take on Raila. I'm ready to take on Ruto. And he has visited Central Kenya, 15 times now? I think you've been there as well. What's going on?
Iga, I want to walk you down the memory lane. On 9th March 2018, we woke up to great news as a country that two antagonistic leaders had come together in what we call handshake. And the whole country was happy. And one of the key objectives of the handshake was to bring Kenya together, cohesion and integration, to heal our wounds. And the big question we should be asking ourselves right now, have we achieved healing Kenya? Have we achieved bringing Kenya together? And as my good colleague here and also Senator Wamatangi trying to put that we're going to have a two-horse race, we need to ask ourselves, remember in the previous elections, we had these two extreme factions which fought fiercely, and after elections, Kenya was divided along ethnic lines, along party lines, along social lines, and therefore we are saying that if we use the same formula of having a two-horse race, as they want to put it, as we stand right now, truth be told, yes, we have William Ruto on one extreme and Raila Odinga on one extreme. I can assure you, Wahiga, here today, that if William Ruto became president of Kenya, half of Kenyans will be happy and half of Kenyans will be dissatisfied. We shall not have a united country. If Raila Amolo Odinga becomes president today, half of Kenyans will be happy, yes, as they want to put it, and half of Kenyans will be annoyed. And therefore we shall not achieve the cohesion and integration as envisaged in the handshake.
If Musalia Mudavadi became president, what numbers are you giving?
At the moment, we need to have a compromise candidate. A candidate who will bring Kenya together. A Kibaki-like candidate in 2002. And this is Musalia Mudavadi. Yes, we have been traversing, and I want to concur with Governor Mutua on the issue of small parties. You might want to laugh them off that we have small parties like Maendeleo Chap Chap, the other one Governor Kingi tried coming up with the other day. But truth be told, that these small parties are going to be the game changers. We are going to have regional parties who are going to make decisions, because we have had very nasty experience whereby these so-called national leaders wanting to rally regions together, but when they get to the high table, they gluttonously forget about the people who put them on the high table and start thinking about themselves. You've seen, we have, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm admirer of that concept, that principle behind the 2022 Raila Odinga presidential bid, which is called Azimio la Umoja. But it's not just about semantics. It's not about people coming up with slogans and utterances which will adhere people to vote for them. No, it's about people living to those promises. Azimio la Umoja, let us ask ourselves, at the moment Raila Odinga went into government, he has ensured that government is divided right now. The presidency is divided. He was in the opposition. He has ensured that the opposition is divided. NASA is no longer there. And therefore, even as he tries to conceptualize that issue of Azimio la Umoja, the big question is he genuine about bringing unity
to this
country?
I need to take a break. I need to take a break.
Just before that.
Oka.
And that is why I concur with Senator Wamatangi. He says that for us to form government, any person who wishes to form government, he must start contemplating having coalitions and partnership in this country. And that is the brilliant idea behind One Kenya Alliance. That is why we brought in like-minded leaders in One Kenya Alliance. We have Kalonzo Musyoka, we have Moses Wetangula, we have Gideon Moi, we have Musalia Mudavadi, and we are open to any like-minded Kenyans. We want to invite Governor Mutua here to come to One Kenya Alliance with your small parties. You are well accommodated there. We want to invite the Jubilee Party, even ODM. The doors are opened. We want to have an alliance which will bring Kenyans together. We are walking the talk. But Azimio la Umoja, they are just hidden in one corner, saying that we don't need partners. They're kicking out all their friends. They don't have political friends right now. And then they hide behind a slogan called Azimio la Umoja. Let us walk our talk.
I'm sure Gladys Wanga will have a lot to say about that on the other side of this break, and Governor Mutua as well, and all my other guests. And we have a lot of your feedback. The hashtag is Daybreak. Seeing so much of your comments, we will read a few of those and continue with what is a very interesting discussion on the other side. You're watching Daybreak this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Kila mtu akona story.
Hata mimi niko na story.
Hakuna mtu ana story.
What is your story? Whether of triumph or tragedy, whether of surmounting great odds or the simple things of life, the world deserves to hear it. Write to Your Story at royalmedia.co.ke and our team will get in touch.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We are talking about the state of our politics, the state of the nation as well, and getting a lot of your feedback on the same. Let's take a look at what Kenyans are saying. 22422 is the SMS line. Hashtag is Daybreak. Kwanse QB, you say, I'd like to see Dr. Alfred Mutua partner with brilliant minds like Professor Kibwana, Mukhisa Kitui, Senator Matangi, just to name a few who can drive Kenya forward. Oka, Jubilee and ODM are the same with nothing to offer Kenyans. Okay, that's the view of one. Jacob Abere, you say, those faces that appear to be advising Musyoka on who to romance with politically appear to be thick on reality and campaigns. Either he joins Raila or he forgets his political future. All right, Gallows, you say, our politics shall always be about ideologies. For happiness will come for all when we choose a leader with better ideologies and plans for this great nation, referencing what the governor had to say. Jenga wa Congo, you say, politics in Kenya has always been about moving up the ladder. Every year, political stakes are always very high, tension all over the nation. Whatever model they come up with, these protagonists have always been holding Kenya hostage. That's Jenga wa Congo. Munji, you say, I think ODM is a big party. When they talk of receiving defectors, they should be talking of people like Moses Kuria. Okay. All right. San Nixon Dugire, thanks. You always tune into Daybreak. Asante sana. You say, Mutua, we don't elect ineffective leaders knowingly. It's only that all aspirants are like bitter pills coated with a lot of sugar. All right. Z Chemjor, you say, pastoralists are not inferior to crop farmers. When leases expire, land should be returned to original owners for use and not subdivided to politicians, farmers, and plots. Until when we respect and enrich each other, in terms of the way of life, peace may be a mirage, referring to our first topic on the Laikipia insecurity. One last one from Kiprono Abraham 1. You say bandits are taking advantage of our politicized security agencies in our country. Our security personnel know more on how to settle political scores than to secure Kenyans. They know more about Friday arrests than to guard our nation. Also send your SMSs 22422. I'll read a few of those even as we continue. Governor Mutua, you've been referenced quite a bit. They're telling you to change the name small parties.
Well, we call ourselves small parties in the sense of how our representation is in parliament and county assemblies. We are not small in ideology, we are not small in force, we're very powerful, but we are small in terms of numbers, and that's a reality. My party, for example, is only 3 months old before the general elections, and we're able to secure 4 political National Assembly seats. I have MPs, and they're not from Ukambani. I have an MP from Lamu, Baringo ya Kati, one from Mwala, and the other one, there's Lamu, Tana River. So, you know, we've got, and then we've got 40 MCAs from all over the country, from a party that was only barely 3 months old. So we know that we'll harvest more in the next elections because we are a party with an ideology. So it's not about small parties in terms of just because they're small in ideology, my friend was trying to allude to, but because we are smaller at this time, we're just starting. But you know, Kenyans are fed up. You know, I liked what somebody there said talking about people holding Kenyans hostage. Kenyans are getting fed up with the same rhetoric. I grew up in the era of Daniel Arap Moi, and I remember Moi used to go overseas, halafu anarudi, akifika airport, sisi tunangojea speech yake, kwa sababu hapo alikuwa anaongea with a lot of vigor. Hiyo kitu gani hii, anavuta watu kazi nini, and he forms these groups, and we would think, wow, Kenya is going to fly, and then nothing happened. Because it was the same characters being moved from the kitchen to the sitting room, moving the same character who was, you know, ruining the sitting room to the bedroom. There they ruin the bedroom even further, then they're taken back to the kitchen, they burn the food. So same characters. So what you're saying is that Kenya needs what Raila used to call Mwamko Mpya. But Mwamko Mpya also comes with new people and new ways of looking at leadership. The challenge we face in our country is tribalism. It's being put in these tribal cocoons. People being told, kabila lenyu linapiga kura hivi. Hii region. This regionalization is very bad. In the beginning, when I started, I talked about Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. In one of his speeches, he talks about dhambi ya kutenganisha watu. Anasema ni kama dhambi. Hiyo dhambi ya utenganisho wa watu. Unasema nyinyi mmetoka Zanzibar, nyinyi mmetoka Tanganyika, nyinyi mmetoka hapa, Pemba. Hiyo kuwatenganisha watu. And you're telling Tanzanians, do not think about where you come from, because you never asked to be born there. You should say you are Tanzanian. And you shouldn't say ati amepata urais, you know, just say you are Tanzanian and you're able to move on. Kenya, we got this poison of tribalism, whereby we can live together. You know, we can be of different tribes. Here, nobody is fighting each other. I was born from a Kamba background. You know, he was born from Mount Kenya, Kikuyu. Same, from Luo Nyanza, from Western. We are here from different, we are Kenyans. You cut my blood, it's as red as yours. If I get sick with COVID, the same treatment I get is the same treatment he gets, the treatment you get. You know, we are all Kenyans. Nobody cares about, you know, where you are born. We live neighbors. Some of us who grew up very poor, my neighbors were from different places. You share unga and sukari. But when it comes to politics, hii kasumba tulieka na wakoloni ya kusema, what is your tribe? Kabila lako ni lipi? You follow your tribe. Watu ANC, omundu, watu Wakamba, anumaito, adu anyoba. Si ndio mnasema adu anyoba. Wengine sema Raila tosa, sababu ametoka kwetu. You know, that is the kind of ideology that we need to get out and get a leader and get leaders who care about our being as people, not where we come from as a tribe. Because tribes are they're just cultural. And yes, we need to celebrate our cultures, our languages, our traditions. That's okay. But that should not be also used in politics.
Governor, this morning you're being challenged to join OCA by Senator Malala. Is that something you would consider?
I would not consider doing that because, not because I have anything against OCA, but you look at the foundation of OCA is formed by people who are desperate to continue clinging to power. These are people who really don't have a track record. And you know, we want people with track records, as simple as that. You know, we need people who can work for our country. What new ideas do these fellas in OCA, what new ideas will they bring to our country? Our people are suffering from high unemployment rates. What have they done? You can say wameweza kufanya hivi, wataweza kufanya hivi. How many roads have they built? What have they influenced? What new ideas will they have? Ama nile tu kawaida, unakuwa mkubwa, you say a safe pair of hands, but you're starving. You know, so that's why I cannot join that organization, and even my party would not let me, because my party slogan is inawezekana na itawezekana, and my party slogan is that you are born today and you need to live a better life as you pursue your happiness. You know,
so there's your response.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. Maybe we can invite them. We can invite them to join the spirit of Maendeleo Chap, whereby we're actually delivering Maendeleo in a speedy fashion to our people. Maendeleo that can actually be seen and felt and touched. And I know I know where they're coming from. You know, I look at these fellas, I know their politics, I've known them from the time I've been in national government, and they're struggling, They want to remain relevant. But really, each one of them, do they really have the power, the strength, the stamina, the creativity to move this country to be like a tiger economy?
I can only give you 30 seconds because you said something about Raila that she kept quiet and listened to you. 30 seconds, because Wanga needs to speak.
I think Governor Mutua is speaking from both sides of his mouth, because the fear of him joining One Kenya Alliance is not about the ideologies. It's simply because we already have somebody from his region seated on that high table, and therefore when he comes, he will not be at the same level. And therefore, you need to be sincere also with this thing of Maendeleo chap. You know, Maendeleo is not about optics. It's about sustainability. We've seen you putting tarmac, 2-inch tarmac, which lasts for 3 months. Is that Maendeleo chapter? Is that the kind of development we want? We want a sustainable way of doing development in this country. And therefore, you cannot just rubbish an idea that brings Kenya together and want to sweep it and push it under the drain. No, I'm still convinced that this is a brilliant mind, yes, but you need to converge with like-minded leaders in this country so that you can practice your brilliance. But alone, you will continue being with 4 MPs.
Let me say something. No. You know, he's taken.
Hang on. I will give you.
He's taken a swipe about my development program. I was just voted the other day by an organization which voted even senators and others as the leading governor in this country. And I challenge you, Senator Malala, not to speak from a pedestal of ignorance, but of knowledge. And after this, let's get into my car. We go to Machakos. You show me that 2-inch tarmac that is gone. I have built more tarmac roads than any other governor in this country. I have built over nearly going to those 700 boreholes soon I'll be launching that has provided water. I have changed the lives of my people by doing real development. But you know, these guys who don't do anything, they are very quick to blame. They say, hapana alijenga tarmac ikaisha. But they have never been there to see the tarmac. They have never actually gone to the ground and seen what has changed people's lives. It's because they have no capacity.
Bring that brilliance to One Kenya Alliance. We need to tap that brilliance.
You know, this idea of taking swipes at people, thinking that is going to be the way through which you progress, is really going to be the Achilles heel for Musalia and Malala and this whole lot. And in fact, putting One Kenya Alliance in very bad light. So let me just, for Governor Mutua's sake, say that I think Governor Mutua has done a good job in Machakos. And to say that even myself, who's running for governor in Homa Bay, my own team has been saying, let's go to Machakos and some of these counties where governors have done very well to see what model they used. And I say that from having visited several counties and knowing that there's been, an imbalance in development. And some of our governors who've tried, I think we need to give them credit. And you'd rather even talk about 2 inches of tarmac than than no roads being done at all. So I just want to say to Senator Malala, I think he said that from a point of rumors. And as governor has challenged him, he should go. But let me come to agree with Senator Matangi about the time, that it's too early to make any sweeping remarks with regards to what will happen in August 2022. So I think there's going to be a lot that's going to change. And by the time we get to August 2022, we will probably be having 2 groups, 2 horses, 2 groups, let me say, and I'd already explained that earlier. And anybody else will really be a 3rd horse or a donkey on the side.
You have been challenged about the slogan Azimio la Umoja.
I'm coming, Wahiga, I'm coming.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just make my points. And I'll come to the point where Malala has taken, swipes at Raila Odinga and said that Raila Odinga caused disunity in Jubilee, caused disunity in the opposition. And I want to tell Malala, Musalia Mudavadi is not going to become president by attacking Raila Odinga. And I've seen that that's the line they've decided to take. Musalia Mudavadi will become president by bringing his numbers on the table. And right now, if you look at them, they are not there. You know, they are not there. The numbers, and I want Malala to just keep calm.
No, I gave you time.
Just on the issue of numbers.
No, Malala.
Carry on.
You have to. I listened to you as you made your points. Listen to me as I make mine. It is going to be on what numbers Musalia can bring on the table. And right now, if you look at them from down up, you know, top, whichever way you look at it, it's not adding up. So therefore, it is important, and I don't want to take any swipe at Musalia Mudavadi, but I want to say that Musalia will not be president by attacking Raila Odinga. And this is what Malala and all those other people around him should learn. If Musalia is going to be president, probably it would be with support of Raila Odinga. It will not be on attack of Raila Odinga. And therefore, coming to the Azimio la Umoja, and it has captured the imagination of the nation. It has captured Malala's imagination, and that's why he's speaking about it. The fact that it is not election at all costs. It is about bringing this country together. And we will build partnerships. Azimio la Umoja will continue to build partnerships, including with those who are already in Oka. But just to say that ODM should come to Oka, surely, for example, in the Senate, Malala, ANC has how many senators? You're 3 of you.
Yes.
Now 3 of you, as we are 20 of us, you want us now to be the ones joining. And I've already said this before. The way this will happen is there has to be space that's enough for everybody and all of us coming together to move it forward. And I'm not ruling out the fact that Raila Odinga, Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, all these people, Alfred Mutua, Gideon Moi, all these leaders, I'm not ruling out the fact that they could actually come and work together in the Azimio la Umoja to bring this country together. To bring this country, because Azimio la Umoja is simply the call or the declaration of unity for the nation. And then we go with the tag inawezekana, which Alfred has also mentioned. So inawezekana kwa Kenya kuja pamoja. So all these leaders have grown with Raila. Under Raila, they have worked together. Nothing stops them from working together, you know, one more time. But it is not by attacking. Let's not make Raila a boogeyman for attack by everybody.
I'll come to you, Senator Matangi. Yes. Come in as you listen to all these promises.
Yes.
We remember Jubilee promises.
Right.
We remember Jubilee 100-day promises, the Jubilee manifesto as well.
Yes.
But the jury is still out on what it takes to actually achieve these things. What should Kenyans really listen out for as different parties promise a better future?
Okay, thank you, Wahiga. Let me take that with just one step backwards. And my thoughts are that I think you should also be having a receipt to be charging bills to some of these guys, you know, like my friend here, Muto, I think he should have charged him a little fee for running out his campaign here and marketing all his projects, because that was pure marketing. But
they laid it on the table for me, and I had to justify myself.
You know, that he was responding to.
I was responding to an attack.
No, that's okay, but that's pure advertising. But that's good. I mean, I want to agree, by the way, in principle, that I visited this gentleman.
I hope you won't also now advertise him. You are falling into the same trap.
I said as a matter of principle,
okay.
Okay. I visited him, and I've seen what he's done. On ground, he's worked. He's done many good things. He may have faults, every person may have, but he's done good work. Having said that, I also want to agree with part of what Malala said. Because if you look at what is happening in our political landscape right now, everybody is sloganeering, like you have said. I mean, we have got Ruto with bottoms up. Now we have Kalonzo with the 24-hour economy.
I think you mean bottom up.
I mean, good.
The other one you mentioned.
I mean, we have got Mudavadi with Uchumi Bora, and Malala has not told us about what also that Uchumi Bora is. Now we have the Azimio la Umoja, and we have Maendeleo Chap, although it's been there for a while. And you know, part of what we need to demand is that as we have all these gentlemen marketing these slogans, that they have to convince us and show us that it is based on ideology, on thoughts, on a plan, on a blueprint, and it is actionable. Because that's why you've asked that question, Wahiga, that's why I'm coming. Because if we allow that at this time when Kenyans expect that there will be change, that we are moving fast past and out of the 21st century, and our parties are still meddling the way we have always had from the days of KANU, that election time is cheating time. People will just come and say sweet things, and you know, it is like in dating what is called sweet nothings. You know, and I would want to tell these gentlemen also that I think that the young Kenyans they have to do. That's why I said I would want to agree with Malala to that extent, and it is also necessary for him and his party, you know, to tell us what this Uchumi Bora is about, as they blame others. I want to agree partly that I also think that you would not demonize Musalia Mudavadi. I think he's been a leader in this country and he's done fairly well. And what Musalia needs to do, and his OCA, because this is what I believe my running mate here was saying. You know, OCA was not founded on, and this Malala, I take to you as your homework, and go and discuss it on your table with the rest of the OCA team. You know, you remember the first days when OCA was being formed in Mombasa, the first thing they were arguing about is who is going to be endorsed by Raila. That was the first argument, and that was weak. Secondly, ask yourself, is OCA legal? Have they registered themselves as OCA? Are they just...
As per our last reports, not fully.
You know, yeah. I mean, are they just, you know, a bubble that has been created out of political imagination? You know, have they formally said that they are OCA? You know, and what do they stand for? Do they have ideals that they have marketed? Because I believe it's this kind of things that will give credence to some of the things that you hear, you know, Mheshimiwa Wanga talking about. That in the first place, they also need to show Kenyans that they have legs, that they have something that they stand for. It's not just an aspiration that one of them is going to be endorsed. And then that way we can take them seriously. But otherwise, individually they have track records. If you ask, you know, Mudavadi, if you ask Kalonzo, what do they do, what do they stand for? Yes, they do. But this thing, they're trying to feed us into another NASA story. You know, you remember them dancing in Uhuru Park, you know, what have you, Pentagon and all that. And then it all died at the end of the day. And Kenyans were left high and dry. It was an anti-climax. So I think they need to be told that we are way past that. Now coming to your last question, you know, what then has happened of the Jubilee promises? And this is what I've kept saying, Wahiga, and I never shy away from saying it, that we have a responsibility until the last day in August 2022, because we made promises, and it is not possible for us to run away from those promises. I say that all the time, and I'm in Jubilee, and I don't hide it. I say it even out and loud when we sit in our meetings.
Isn't
that
it a little
at the end of the day, Wahiga, it is never too late to do the right thing. You could tell Kenyans, yes, we did our best for this reason and that reason. We were not able to deliver 100% of what we said, but you can't exit the game in the middle. And number two, you can't find excuses in place of facts and reason and action. And that's why I say every day counts for us. And I say this even for my boss to hear, that he needs to keep his focus. He has a document that he lifted in front of millions of Kenyans in Kasarani and said, this is what I will do. He has got to do that until the day when he says, this is the time when I'm leaving. So lastly, as a political leader in this country, what I would want to see happening, Wahiga, if you asked me, is, you know, politicians are now starting to realize, Wahiga, that this game must change. Everything has changed. I mean, we have introduced technology, even in communication. I mean, even health has changed. There is e-health. I mean, why should politics remain an analog game, whereby it is all about cheating and lying and what have you and dancing, and then at the end of the day, people are left hollow. So my friend running mate here, because you know I thought that you are telling us real things. You know, if you start buying into this story of this kind of gaming, my friend, it will be very bad.
It's true.
For our octogenarians like Akina Raila Odinga and the rest of them in Oka, including William Ruto. I mean, this country, at the end of the day, if they think that in 2023 that they will stand and still run the same game they did and wait for 2027. Let me tell you, what will happen in this country is we will see a revolution. And you can start seeing what is happening, Wahiga. Let's not lie to anyone. Kenyans have changed. This is not the same old country we had in 2002. And so even as we go to the elections, I want to tell my colleague there, Gladys Wanga, you know, and Malala, Mutua here, and myself.
Yes.
Let us say to our principles, as you sit, as you plan with the reality in mind, and let us know that we are not planning to go and lie, we are planning to go and deliver.
Okay.
This is the way we can change the country.
But Wahiga, is Raila an octogenarian? I mean, is that a statement of fact?
Well, I mean, okay. I mean, let's call them the old big players. I mean,
yeah, but
that may, you know, I mean, the old time big players.
Yeah, but don't call them octogenarians.
But not
that's people who are over 80 and going, and that's not a bad thing. But just call them when they are.
I mean, you know, not intended to show that his old past expiry date. Yeah. But he's been there for a while, and not him alone. I mean, so has Musalia Mudavadi, so has Kalonzo Musyoka. Indeed, William Ruto is looking fresh because he has never taken a stab at the presidency before, but he's also been there. You know, I mean,
okay.
So when you talk about the old timers, we are talking about the people who have been in leadership for those years, okay. And will have something to show. You have
clarified, Senator Malala, you have a standing invite to Machakos County. Do you accept it?
Yeah, I do accept it, and I was not rubbishing Governor Mutua's development record. Of course,
you were.
I was not rubbishing it in totality.
Okay.
I was just uncomfortable with how he was rubbishing other leaders, and therefore, to me, I was not happy about it. But generally speaking, as my colleagues have said, you've tried, but not to an extent of giving you the monopoly to rubbish others. That said and done, I want just to come back to where my good friend, Honorable Gladys Wanga, left. I think the ODM fraternity are still living in utopia. They are still in that imaginary hallucination world of numbers. And I want to state here clearly that if we now dictate to ourselves and say that we put our numbers on the table, you'll find that at the moment, Raila Odinga is an isolated man. He has been boasting of numbers because he has been having some of us on board. He has been having the Western region through Musalia Mudavadi. Musalia Mudavadi is no longer with Raila Amolo Odinga. Remove the 3-4 million votes from Raila Odinga. Kalonzo Musyoka has been with Raila Odinga. He's no longer with Raila Odinga. Look at the entire nation. Western region is now autonomously under Musalia Mudavadi. Look at Rift Valley, it's not with Raila Odinga. Look at Central, he's grappling, trying to penetrate through the mountain. Ukambani, Upper Eastern is not with Raila. Coast region is divided right now. So you leave Raila with Luo Nyanza and bits of Kisii and Masai, and he has no numbers. And let me tell you one thing, Gladys Wanga. You celebrate having numbers in parliament because in the NASA coalition, you had the presidential candidate. If Kalonzo Musyoka was the presidential candidate of NASA, Wiper would be having more members of parliament than any other party, affiliate party in NASA. If Musalia Mudavadi was the flag bearer, then ANC would be having more numbers in parliament because the presidential candidate runs on his political party, and therefore we should not take advantage of history, and we should not take advantage of our previous support to try and demean us and dare us to bring numbers. If we start bringing numbers on the table, I can assure you, real numbers as they are right now, political dynamics have changed. We're no longer talking about numbers of 2007, numbers of 2013. We're talking about numbers as stipulated in 2022. We have demographics changing in the IEBC register. At the moment right now, we have so many young leaders, the electorate, young electorates, who do not know about people fighting for second liberation, people fighting for 2002 removal of KANU. We have young leaders who want fresh ideas, and therefore the demographics of the current electorate do not favor ODM. So do not.
Actually, you asked about Uchumi Bora. What's that about?
We of course, Uchumi Bora has been anchored on 3 pillars. 1, job creation. 2, fighting corruption. And 3, to reduce public debt. Through job creation, we are insisting that we must have money into people's pockets, pesa mfukoni. And we have a variety of ways in which we're going to ensure that pesa imefika katika mifuko za wananchi. 1, we are going to ensure that we roll out economic stimulus projects across the country. We are tired of this brick and mortar development. You find that we invest so much in optics, whereby you do a good classroom, you do a good building, call it, say, Makueni Level 5 hospital, yet we do not have projects that stimulate the economy. We want to see the government pumping in to manufacturing and industrialization. Projects which are going to create jobs. We are also opening up, we shall be opening up opportunities for the private sector to do business with government. You know that the biggest spender of money is the government, and therefore, for us to enhance money supply in our economy, we shall be opening up opportunities as a government to ensure that the private sector conduct business with government. And when I say private sector, I mean those local suppliers.
Okay, okay.
Say, for example, if you take 50 million shillings and pump into a school, a local school, say a local primary school, you want to elevate it to a center of excellence, that local primary school will get local suppliers who will do the buildings, who will supply stones there, who will supply sand and other building materials. That is the kind of model we want to bring.
And I think we get the idea.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Governor Mutua, even as you come in, era of sloganeering, era of economic models, is that what will determine who will be in State House after next year? At the end of the day, are we there yet?
Not yet. Should we use this opportunity to also do a closing remark so we still have time?
Oh, that's a fair point. Okay, I'm told we have time. Governor, you know your stuff. We have about 10 minutes. So maybe let's take it there.
Yeah, just very quickly, starting with that point, 4 points, and that is, 1 is, this country does not want a band-aid solution. We want a solution that really works for our people. Our people are suffering. And I asked earlier on, what is the well-being of Kenya? If Kenya was a human being, where would we be? Would we be in ICU? Would we be in the general ward? Would we be in the HDU? And I say that Kenya is in critical condition right now. When we look at the economics, when we look at the fighting in Laikipia, when we look at how things are going, the tribalism, Kenya is not doing very well. It can be better. So we need an architect that can actually remove Kenya from the ICU to the general ward. And that is not somebody who is being chosen out of their tribal affiliations. It's somebody who is being chosen out of their experience and ability and foresight to able to grow the economy. When you look at all these economic models and you're asking the same question, is that they're interesting. They're all slogans and everything, and everybody's trying to appear to know. I have my own economic solution for this country. And I don't want to talk about it now. Because even I've listened to some of the things he's saying and others saying, I realize that when I expound on my ideas, they copy. And they've been copying for a while. So I'm going to wait until the right time to unleash my ideas that Kenyans will go, wow. You know? Because I realize I come up with ideas, they copy. And they don't even have the courtesy of tweaking and changing kidogo. They copy as is.
Which idea has been?
Many, my friend. Let me not even go there. Okay. And so I've taken a back seat and say, wacha nisitoe yangu sasa kwa sababu copy. But he knows. And you know, and we've talked and we have good ideas of how we can reach this country. So hii ingine sahi ni kuambia watu I am better than this. And I think it's a response to the bottom up, you know, bottom down or bottom up? Bottom down, your concept lukuja, bottom up. So everybody feels like that's a slogan, so let me form mine, another one form yours and all that. And you've got good points when you talk about these things. The second point is the one that I asked earlier on, and that is, you know, as a child born in this country, you know, am I in a place to really choose my own happiness? You know, am I in a place whereby I can wake up and dream and make my dreams come true? Or is it a struggle? Why do we struggle all the time? You know, Madam Wanga talked very brilliantly about, you know, issues of corruption. You know, can I get my documents done without having to bribe anybody? Can I wake up and go to hospital and get treated without having to bribe anybody? You know, how is my life in this country? Can I choose my own happiness? Are others allowing me to join them to choose my happiness? Third is that, you know, we are facing drought in this country. And it is a pity that so many years since independence that the president has to declare a state, it's basically a national disaster, state of emergency at this time. I lived in the Middle East for a while, whereby they don't have rain, but they don't have problems of, you know, of starvation. It's because wamejipanga, because starvation is not about rain, it's about money. You know, you have to have the ability to grow. I don't know where Wahiga you live. Do you live in Nairobi somewhere? You have a farm where you grow your food
not
every
at the
day?
moment. Future aspirations.
No, I mean where you live right now.
Not
you grow your food,
no.
but then how do you survive? You look like you're healthy. How do you? Because you have money.
You go
have
and buy
money. You
food.
can go and buy food. You know, the issue of hunger is not an issue of lack of land. It's an issue also transforming that land and also growing money. When I look, and I'm quite proud, and I want to take this opportunity at times to thank my team in Machakos. You know, the team I've had in Machakos, because I've not done these things by myself, is because we've been able to roll back hunger in Machakos. You know, Machakos County was always in the list of counties for food relief when I got in. Always. Machakos, where people are starving in Ukambani. But for the last 3 years, because of the subsidy program I brought in, the free seeds program, the expansion of free tractors, things that actually work, models that actually I have to say are not necessarily mine. I copied what I saw working in Malawi and working in Croatia and other countries. Today, you look at the list of counties that are starving.
You are not on the list.
We are not in the list. Machakos cannot be in this list. Why? Because leadership has ensured that we are not in that shame. So good leadership can work. And so it's unfortunate that we've got counties that are suffering, but it's also because we lack a bit of foresight in our logistics, because I can assure you, as people are suffering in Narok and Embu and other places, it's a tragedy that even in Nyeri, people are starving in Nyeri, whereas just across the road, there's a bumper harvest. It's all about logistics, moving the food. Wengine wanamwaga maziwa, wengine wanakufa na njaa. So it's all that.
And your final point?
My final point is that we come from a country that is great, and we are great people. And we've got all these talks, what is happening, like Laikipia, all these talks. Let us, as a country, not give up and know that God has blessed us. And, you know, we always say, you know, there's a song I sing, I'm a very strong Christian, I say, count your blessings, name them one by one. At times when you count your blessings and name them one by one, you find that they are more than the problems. And yes, we are suffering, we're in a critical condition, but our blessings are there, and let us not give up. Our young people out there, let me tell you, there is hope. Mbele iko sawa. Because some of us really care. And when we talk in this show, we talk about what is deep in our hearts. Because this is our country, and let us not pull down our country. Let us talk up our country. Na mbele itakuwa sawa.
Thank you, Governor. That sounds like your slogan, but maybe you'll launch it another day. Go ahead, Honorable Wanga.
Thank you. Thank you, Wahiga. I think there are a number of things that Senator Malala has said. Maybe on the overall, I'd like to say that I think from reading through what Senator Malala is saying, I think leaders such as Senator Malala are pushing Musalia to run for president so that they get certain seats. And I think because what he said is because their presidential candidates didn't run, I mean, because these people didn't run for president, there are certain seats that were not gotten. So I think in that, what I derive is that they are pushing Musalia to run so that, you know, Malala might be, you know, governor of Kakamega or whatever it is. Because as we speak today, by the way, even as he, you know, history can't be rubbed. Currently, as we speak, the governor of Busia, the governor of Kakamega, the governor of Vihiga, those are all ODM governors. You can't rub, you know, history. Actually, what happened in coalition, ODM lost seats that would otherwise not have lost. Langata is a good example. Because ODM put a candidate, Wiper put a candidate, Jubilee, which would never win Langata under any circumstance, won Langata. And that is what was replicated, by the way, across the country, where ODM lost a lot of seats because of the fact that we couldn't actually come out and campaign for our candidates, or our votes were divided because we were on a single ticket. But that having been said, oh, by the way, we forget that Musalia has actually run for president when Raila is running, and we saw what the vote looked like in Western. We forget that Kalonzo has actually run for president when Raila is running. So I think to rubbish Raila Odinga is not how Musalia and whoever else Malala speaks so will advance. I think they will only advance by advancing what their agenda is, which I've listened to here, Uchumi Bora. I can't differentiate it from the Big Four agenda, by the way. I cannot even differentiate, because even right now, as the Finance Committee, we're dealing with the PPP bill, looking at how private sector can be involved in development and so on. I can't differentiate it. I don't see what's novel. I don't see what's different. But maybe they will have a bigger opportunity to elaborate it in a way that we can pick out what is it that is different in Uchumi Bora moving forward? Because as what we know is revamping rural economies. What we know is how we are going to make this UHC a reality.
Is it
what we, you have to just keep quiet, because even when you're making your points, I kept quiet, and you'll have a chance to make your points. What we know is how to make UHC, to bring it from where it is.
Yes.
You don't bring it as something new, but you bring it from where it is currently and actually make it a reality.
Okay, and finally,
moving forward. So my view is Azimio la Umoja is where we need to go. The reason is we've tried to get, we've tried election at all costs, but we've discovered without unity of the nation, without peace that is lasting, without making every Kenyan feel they are part of the nation, whether the person they were supporting is elected or not, without creating that environment, we will not be able to develop economically. And that is why Azimio la Umoja inawezekana.
Okay, thank you. And will we pick that as your last point, Senator Matangi?
Yes.
Briefly, please.
Yep. Wahiga, I think I'll condense my final comments to what I believe is the absolute lack of accountability, political accountability by our leaders to our electorate. And I think this is what has messed the playing field up to today. Because you're able to walk in, do anything, say anything, promise anything, and exit without accountability. and I want to say here and now, as a matter of fact, Wahiga, that if you, and I would want to challenge you, Wahiga, because you're a smart guy, and in the media here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you are. We watch you. If you take on all these leaders with all those slogans, I want to assure you something this morning, that none of them understands the model they're talking about. None of them have researched them. None of them has a plan about all those models you're hearing about. No one can articulate it well and tell you that this is what we mean. They can't put it on a table and give you milestones and landmarks, and this is how we are going to achieve it. None. But it pays, it suffices, it's enough to code it, give it good wording, and sell it. And as you'll find, Wahiga, listen to all of them and tell me, why did you hear somebody saying that this is how we intend to deal with land reform? And you're having clashes in Laikipia today, and you're having people fighting. You're just hearing interesting talk. I mean, whom have you had in all those, slogans telling you crisply that this is how we intend to reform and deal with our SME sector? Knowing, for example, Wahiga, even if you did the most basic research, countries that you'd want to model around, look at a country like Taiwan. Do you know Taiwan, in its entire of the economy, and it is top ranked in the world, 98% of Taiwan is SMEs. 98%. I mean, ask somebody here, with this plan that you're telling us, what plan do you have? I mean, look at what has happened to countries that have embraced technology. Korea, ask all these guys, with this Uchumi Bora and 24 hours and what have you, and bottom up and all of them. What are you telling? What is the place of technology for us? I mean, how are you going to model our country to rival countries like Vietnam, which was in war for eternity? Now it's a top economy. You get what I mean? And so you find that this is all sloganeering, and this is my problem. You know, when I have to engage in this kind of debate, and that becomes the subject. And so what I would want to challenge, especially yourselves in media, Wahiga, people like in the academia, who are, you know, stakeholders, our business community, you know, the technocrats of this country. I mean, don't just stand on the sidelines and wait for this debate to continue the way it does. And you are waiting for those that depend on you, the masses downwards, to swallow this hook, line, and sinker. And at the end of the day, these are the masses who will go to the ballot box and they'll vote for these people. Once they do, then you live by the consequences, including whom yourselves who would have done something at that time. So let me conclude by saying this, that I think, because now politics seems like it has been unhinged, and then you can see how what is happening. Everybody now is on a free fall and free flow anywhere, and it's not stopping anyway. We are now heading towards the elections of 2022 August, and don't expect any other break, Wahiga. What would require to be done right now is anyone who wants to intervene in this discussion, in the dialogue, to at least bring some modesty and some sense and some responsibility in it is to intervene now. And I believe then that way we could take responsibility for the results we are going to have in 2022. Otherwise, do not complain, Wahiga. Let no one complain when our doctors strike again in 2023 because there was no structure. Because what will have happened is that all those who are able to take responsibility now and inject their thoughts and action in it will just stand, wait, sit still, and things will happen the way they have happened all the other times, and we'll just have clashes probably. Sometimes you've seen what has started happening, and with that breath, I would want to urge political leaders, let us not take this country back to where we were in 2007, 2008.
Okay.
Let's spare our people, and let's know that we're stakeholders in tomorrow.
Wrap this up for us, briefly, please.
Wahiga, as a country, we've suffered for a very long epoch. We have undergone a lot of problems as a country. We've been clinched under the chains of unemployment, unequal distribution of resources and opportunities, lack of adequate strategy to implement even some of the policies like food security and so many other problems. And therefore, we now have an opportunity in 2022 to choose the right leaders. Leaders who have not been part of the normal rhetorics of bringing change, yet they cannot bring change. Leaders who have fresh ideas, and I'm liking the trajectory in which the Kenyan politics is taking. People have started talking issues. I like when Governor Mutua says that I have a model that is going to, a spectacle model that is going to change this country. And I'm yet to, I think I'll come to you at the appropriate time just to share with you, because I want to become governor of Kakamega, and therefore I'll be wanting also to sip from your cup of wisdom to get just this idea that is going to change our country. We want to bring our country together, and I want to implore upon all the political divides. I don't want my brothers and sisters from the ODM to start crying that they are being attacked. If we have gurus of attacks in this country, then they lie in ODM, you know that. And therefore, I would like to tell them that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So you shouldn't start crying about being attacked. We are only but reminding you about political realities. Please, and therefore, I would like to call upon all political leaders in this country to come together. Let us workshop ideas. Let us conceptualize ideas that are going to change. We have young people who are looking up to us. Let us not disappoint them. I want to call upon my friends from ODM, from Jubilee, from Maendeleo Chap Chap, from Wiper. Let us workshop ideas, and therefore the 2022 elections should be an election pitting ideas against ideas and not individuals against individuals.
Fair enough. Thank you so much, Senator, for that. And that has been the State of the Nation this morning. This is some of your feedback. Remember, the SMS line is 22422. Hashtag is Daybreak. These are some of your thoughts. Let's put them up. All right. Evans Wiga, you say, when will Raila support Mudavadi and Kalonzo? These two leaders have been loyal since I was a kid. Okay, Evans, when were you a kid? Okay, we have Mao Zedo. You say, remind Malala that not everyone in Western is with Musalia, just so that he doesn't forget Mudavadi's governor in Vihiga is ODM. I'm from Kakamega, and I'm an ODM diehard. Okay, Malala umepata hiyo ujumbe. To Ruben, you say Wanga should embrace the fact that Musalia and Mudavadi, I think you mean Musalia and Kalonzo? Okay, we'll never support Raila this time round unless Raila steps down for one of them. Okay, referencing a bit of the debate earlier on. Wow, a lot of feedback for Malala. Okay, Charles Omo, you say Malala Busia is ODM zone. BG is a mixture of UDA and Ford Kenya. Vihiga is an ODM. KK is ODM 80%, UDA and ANC share the remaining. Malala, I think you've understood what they're saying there. Lani Devi, you say in 1997, Raila stood no chance against Moi and Kibaki, but still believed he had a shot at the presidency. Why should Musalia or Kalonzo drop their ambitions for Raila now? All right. And finally, Arap Board, you say no one is concerned about unification. They just want power. All the rest is empty rhetoric. They all know our problems. They've had opportunities to address them in the past, but they did not. And that's your feedback this morning. Thank you so much to all my guests. Thank you so much for your time. Today we've had Senator Cleophas Malala, Kakamega, Gladys Wanga, Woman Rep, Homa Bay. Both of them say the gubernatorial seat is their next destination. We'll be covering all those campaigns. We have had Kimani Wamatangi, Senator Kiambu. He's keeping quiet on what next for him. We'll wait to hear. And the governor of Machakos County, Dr. Alfred Mutua, who has told us wait and see. He will tell us his plans very soon. I didn't ask you. Next week, Thursday, we'll start there.